Record. All right. Now, a lot of us want to lose weight. And the biggest thing is obviously focusing on protein, right? Protein is your best friend. And I want to know, do you struggle getting your protein in? Do you feel at the end of the day, before this challenge, do you struggle to get your protein? Let me know in the comments. Put in the chat you do or you don't. I did 100%. I struggled for years. Everybody's protein goal is different, and I'm going to tell you what yours is on this call. But let me know in the comments if you struggle to get your protein in. End of the day, most parents undereat protein. Most people undereat protein. But to be honest, it is the number one nutrient for fat loss. It keeps you full, it builds muscle, it burns more calories on any food group just by eating it. Just by eating protein, eating chicken breast, your body's going to burn more calories to digest that than chips, than any other food because it's so dense, right? And that could be an easy way to just put you in a deficit and lose weight. It's not complicated to lose weight, right? So, but protein is the number one fat loss fuel. And the goal is to aim 20 to 30 grams of protein at the minimum a meal. Now, you may be asking me, well, what's my protein goal? Now, you had the calories I gave you under my app, and you have the calories, whatever that's deficit, maintain, or gain weight. Your protein goal is going to be your goal body weight. So let's just say you're 200 pounds, you want to get down to 140 grams, 140. Well, your goal for protein a day is 140 grams. Now, that might say, well, how do I get all that in? That seems like a lot. How do I do that? And just like I said, you want to have 20 to 30 grams of protein in each meal. Now that just equals maybe 60 to 90 grams if you go that route. But then you're going to have some high protein snacks. And I highly recommend if you struggle to get your protein in, have a protein shake, right? A protein powder is just a supplement to help get your protein in. Don't use it as your main source of protein, but if you add a protein powder to your day, you're going to add 30 grams of protein just like that, right? It's very, very easy. And end of the day, if you're having dinner per se, to get 30 grams of protein in is very easy. It's actually easier to get 40 grams of protein for dinner because you're sitting down with the family or you're sitting down at work and you actually have time to have a good meal. Or if that's lunch for you, you can have a decent sized turkey, chicken, ground beef, steak, and it could be easily 40 grams of protein. So that shows you right there how easy it is just to add those proteins, right? And a lot of you mentioned today in the challenge that breakfast is the number one struggle. It can be you might be rushed to work, your kids are just crazy in the morning, you just don't have time for breakfast, or you're just not hungry, or just not that type of person to have breakfast. And on the day, that's okay. But getting a protein in first, getting a protein, but eating breakfast in the morning, it just helps you fuel your body, gives you energy, and ultimately helps you get your calories in easier rather than let's just say intermittent fasting. You're skipping half the day, you start at 11 o'clock, and then after 11 o'clock, you got to rush all these calories in your body, and then you're stuffed and bloated, right? So let me know any questions, guys. Again, towards nutrition, drop in the comments. I'd love to share and obviously explain what's going on and answer those questions. And end of the day, protein is number one. And then obviously the second macro, it's called protein, carbs, and fats, is carbs. And carbs, obviously, end of the day, are not the enemy. They're our main source of energy, right? Carbs are fuel for workouts, energy, keep up your kids, or just work a full day, right? And let me know in the comments, have you ever cut the carbs? Have you ever done the keto diet? Have you ever done a super low carb diet? Because that was the answer towards fat loss, weight loss, a quick fix. Because in the day, carbs are water weight, right? But in the day, you want to lose weight, you can starve yourself, do millions of cardio, but you're just going to lose weight. You're not going to lose body fat, right? And for a lot of us, we want to lose body fat and keep and obviously gain muscle strength. And this is by having protein, carbs, and fats. And carbs, it comes down to just not demonizing them, just limit the ultra processed junk, the chips, the pasta, super high carb, pizza, and having like the good quality carbs, rice, oats, fruits, whole grains, and potatoes, right? Those are all better carbs than pizza, pasta, and chips. You can still have those things, but I don't recommend having pasta every single day, pizza twice a week, going out with your friends and partying every single week and then having all this food. Because the next day you're going to be a couple pounds overweight. You're going to be a couple pounds extra than on Monday or Tuesday, right? So carbs are not the enemy, and they're the main source of energy, right? And at the end of the day, for a calorie goal, you want to get that in. And then you want to focus on your protein goal. As long as you do both those two and get as close as possible to your protein goal, you're going to stay full. Your cravings at nighttime is going to go away. You're going to lose body fat, gain strength, get stronger, build muscle. At the end of the day, see the results you want, right? And then obviously the fats is the other macro, which is just a filler. And obviously that helps with obviously fuel, brain function, and obviously hormones. And that's avocado, healthy fats, almonds, oil. Which is very, very easy to go over a fat goal because everything is fat, right? But as a balanced meal, as a balanced nutrition plan, it comes down to macros. It comes down to protein, carbs, and fats. And as long as you can hit just your protein or your calorie goal, you're going to see results. If you see your macro goal and you hit your goal, you're going to feel different. And that's what comes down to fat loss. And just to do better 1% each day and trying to get your goal. Because end of the day, we always have bad days, right? And we always run into problems. We don't have time for this. We don't have time for that. And that's okay. And that comes down to just, like I said, doing better each day. And to help you guys a little bit, obviously, we all go out to dinner. We all go out for fast food, restaurants, outings, gatherings, parties. And the best thing I can tell you guys to do when you do that is you can either fill up before you go, or you can focus on the plate itself on a high protein item. For example, if you go to a Italian restaurant, don't just get a massive bowl of pasta. Add some protein in. And that could be, let's say, chicken Alfredo, and focus on eating more chicken on that dish than all that pasta. Because in the day, a big bowl of pasta, you're gonna feel bloated the next day or that night. And I know I'm Italian, so I used to love my pasta, right? And obviously, having a salad on the side would help 100%, right? Let me know if this helps. Let me know if you are learning from this and if this is valuable. Um, and keep on asking me questions. I'll go back over the chat after this. Now, one biggest struggle that I know everybody struggles with is snacking. If it's afternoon snacking or it's night snacking. Let me know in the comments what if you do struggle with snacking and what's your go-to. What do you like at nighttime? Are you that you want something crunchy and salty? Do you want a sweet treat, chocolate, candy? What is your go-to? Let me know in the comments. Because at the end of the day, snacking isn't bad, but mindlessly snacking usually derails your results. Because, for example, if you're having chips, well, you can eat a whole bag of chips just like that, no problem. And that has no protein and that has a lot of calories, right? And to be honest, you can go crush a whole bag of, let's say, all dressed chips and still be hungry afterwards, right? Meaning that's going to lead you to overeating. Now, again, there are always easier options. So a quick swap, let's just say if you like chips, have popcorn. Kind of the same savory snack, but chips are obviously high calorie compared to popcorn. It's going to fill you up. It has a little bit of fiber, but it's going to fill you up for half the calories, right? Same with obviously pop. You can have diet soda or you can have sparkling water, right? There's always swaps to make life a little easier, to make your snacks a little healthier. Always alternatives. And I drop recipes that are healthier, high protein, instead of having something else, right? So I definitely encourage you having, let's say, a protein item for snack and throw some produce in there. So, for example, like an apple and a cheese string, right? The apple's going to fill you up because it has fiber, and the cheese string is just going to give you that craving for the snack, right? Same with popcorn, you can have, or if it's chips, whatever that is, add in some protein. If that's, let's say, a parfait, throw some fruit in there. Then you got a sweet treat with some yogurt, high protein, has fiber with the fruit, a little bit of sugar there, but it's obviously healthy, right? Let me know if this is helping you guys. End of the day, snacking isn't bad. There's no bad food. It just comes down to in moderation, but it comes down to mindlessly and just realizing how much food you're actually consuming. Okay, well, like I already had all this. I don't need this. This is not going to help me towards my goals. That kind of thing, right? And that's the whole point of tracking your food. And like I said, not forever, but for the first few months, you're going to learn how much food you actually are consuming. And you'll realize you're either consuming too much of snacking food or you're severely under eating. And that is why you may be stuck towards your fat loss goals. There's like a happy medium you want to hit, right? So another thing that I would say snacking is because snacking is when you miss your breakfast, when you have coffee for breakfast, usually later on in the afternoon, you're going to be starving. Dinner time comes, you eat a little bit more. The nighttime comes and you're opening the pantries and the fridge and you're just mowing food. And that's why obviously you need to have a balanced diet throughout the day. Try to have 3 meals and snacks, right? And that way it's a happy medium, right? And another thing that obviously helps towards nutrition is hydration and the hidden calories in juices, milk, all that stuff. And if you're a juice fan, if you like pop, if you like Pepsi and Coke, and obviously all these orange juice and apple juice, one cup that you can chug is 120 calories without even knowing. They're the hidden calories, just like dressings, seasonings, spices, sauces, oil. It adds up, right? And the biggest thing that if you feel you're starving or you're craving something, pound a glass of water down. And you're going to realize that it was just a hunger cue, but you're probably really thirsty as well. Because in the day, a lot of us do not drink enough water, right? And obviously, if we're having coffee, it comes down to obviously coffee creamers. Do you have milk? Do you have sugar? Do you have the pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks? Right? Everything adds up towards nutrition. And it's crazy, actually, if you write it down for a few days or a week, you will realize what you're intaking and like comes down to the calories, but how much you're under eating or overeating. Right? Let me know if this helps. Again, any questions, drop in the comments. Now, the last thing I'm going to go over is obviously I talked a little bit about motivation on Monday if you watched the live and the mindset, but this comes down to nutrition. Because like I mentioned, we're always busy. We may don't not have time to come home, have a dinner. If you have kids and they're in sports, you come home from work, you grab them and you go. And then you got to go to a fast food place because you don't have time to cook something. And that is okay. You can go to Mickey D's, you can go to Burger King. But like I said, it's just more mindful of what you're intaking and focusing on something that is has a little more protein. Nowadays, a McDonald's salad is is worse for you than a Big Mac. The amount of stuff they throw on there, the amount of dressing they pour on there, well, there's 1,000 calories right there once you dress it all up, compared to let's just say like a cheeseburger. Cheeseburger is a few hundred calories, but you have a decent amount of protein, right? And that's the big thing. Protein's going to just keep you full. And it's going to move the needle forward by 1% towards your fat loss goals, right? So again, I'm not going to go in depth towards nutrition as there's a lot to know, but the easiest things to really focus on this 4-day challenge and the rest of obviously your life to make it sustainable is just being more mindful what you're intaking and making sure that you're not just snacking mindlessly and focusing on protein. Have a protein snack with a little bowl of chips. That way you're not going to be just eating the whole bag of chips. You're gonna have a little bowl. Then the the fruit or the protein's going to fill you up. Let me know if this helps, guys. I do see some questions here. I'll take a look here. All right, so it's hard to get enough in some days for protein. Uh, iPhone 60 Christie, protein powder. Um, Majority protein powder is between 100 to 130 calories and between 20 to 30 grams of protein per serving. Now, depending where you live and depending what country you're from, um, All Max, Ghost, Rule One, Quattro, and Diesel are pretty much one of the top 4 to 5 protein powders out there. And Diesel, for example, has no artificial flavors. It's made in New Zealand, super healthy. And at the end of the day, it's just trying to find a protein powder that you enjoy. There's a million flavors. I've tried a lot. Some I legit threw in the garbage after one scoop. And it's trying to find a flavor that you like, right? So I do recommend. I use Diesel. I use Mutant Mass. I use Ghost, and there are some amazing flavors. Cookies and cream, Oreo. There's a lot of different chocolate, strawberry. There's a lot of different flavors. Um, Keto, Nicole, bedtime snacks using crackers, chocolate. Okay, chocolate salty, but don't okay. Sweet and salty. Awesome, awesome, guys. Any questions, guys? I love you guys engaging 100%. Only a few of you guys live right now. And on the day, this is only day 2 of the challenge, right? There's still 2 full days left, 2 more days to really focus on your goals, to have 3 meals a day and some snacks. And if you are not having breakfast and you get up in the morning, you have coffee, try to have breakfast tomorrow. I challenge you to I challenge all of you to try to have 3 meals a day. Does not have to be a big breakfast. It can be a parfait. It can be a protein smoothie. It can be hard-boiled eggs. Something. Try. Corenda, the Diesel pumpkin spice protein powder was nasty. Lots of people returned it. 100%. Like I said, there's a lot of different flavors out there, and this is the fall season, meaning all these pumpkin spices are going to come out, all the lattes, all the apple. It depends on your taste buds. And it's trying to find something that you actually enjoy. What flavor do you like? Uh, and the biggest flavors I like is cookies and cream. And for Ghost, I have hot mocha, which is pretty much hot chocolate. You can put a protein powder scoop in a mug with water, microwave it for 2 minutes, stir it up, and you have a hot chocolate that is super healthy and 30 grams of protein, just like that. And that way, I'm showing you, all of you, that it's that easy to get protein in. I legit put a protein powder scoop in a cup of water and throw in the microwave and stir it up. It's a hot chocolate that's high protein, and it tastes exactly like hot chocolate. And then I do have a vanilla protein powder that I make recipes with, as you really don't taste the protein powder in these recipes. And I'm going to be filming a few tomorrow, so you might see a couple more recipes, 2, 3 a week that have protein powder. Right? Hope that helps. Christy, let me know any more questions. I'll stick around for a little bit and then I'll hop off. Again, if you didn't get the workout in today, get it in tonight and keep pushing. Again, if you have a bad day, that's okay. How are you going to do better the next day? How are you going to make sure this bad day, this bad meal, this bad something going on with your life isn't going to derail you the next week or the next day? Right. And that's the hardest thing towards nutrition, is just do better by 1% each day. That's it. And over the duration, you're going to learn, okay, well, I can hit my protein goal. I'm getting closer to that. Oh, if I add this, I'm going to hit it. And then once you find that rhythm and that routine, all it is about being consistent. As long as you're consistent at hitting that number or as close as possible, you're going to see amazing results. And I can promise you that. Right? It's all about just doing the reps slowly and surely. Again, guys, thank you for being here live. If you have any questions, you can definitely message me in the group, or you can personal private message me in the chat. You're welcome, Nicole. Have a great night. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.